I carried a secret in my bag when I arrived at the Savannah airport one February day in 2012. It was spring break at the Midwestern University where I teach, and I was seeking the warmth of the southern sun. I was also seeking something else. Inspiration. For a writing project that I had not dared tell my friends or colleagues about. I am a teacher and historical writer whose academic books have focused on Black slavery among the Cherokees. At the time that I landed in Savannah, I was covertly attempting a novel. I wanted to tell a fictional story about a Cherokee plantation called Diamond Hill, the focus of my second work of history. Established by the Cherokee entrepreneur and political leader James Vann, Diamond Hill was, and still is, operated as a Georgia State historic site called the Chief Vann House. I had described in my work of history how James Vann's plantation was a cauldron of trouble for enslaved blacks, and now I wanted to capture the interior aspects of these individuals' lives and of their relationships with one another. Emotionally and ethically, I had never been satisfied with how the documented history unfolded for enslaved Black women and Cherokee women on the Vann plantation, and through fiction, I seized the chance to write my own ending, in which the characters could achieve a kind of poetic justice. But this was all more easily imagined than carried out, I had discovered. The fictional genre was new and untested for me, and I was struggling with it. Where could I go to rejuvenate my thinking? The answer popped into my head one gray winter morning. The hostess city of the South. I could go to Savannah, the most storied urban locale in Georgia, where genteel wealth and crushing slavery flourished together like poisonous tropical vines. So I set out to soak in the atmosphere of a very old, knowing city, to visit historic homes where enslaved people had lived and labored, to project my imagination into the past and mount a full-scale rewrite of the secret novel. I arrived in Savannah with a draft of the manuscript, which hunched inside my bag as a set of loose, dog-eared pages, just as the weather was changing for the worse. The day before had been dry and bright, but not too hot, I learned from the sleek African-American woman at the front desk of the Bohemian Hotel. But now rain was threatening behind a cool wind. Soon the rain made good on that threat, pouring, drizzling, and failing to stop for 3 days straight. I spent the first half of the dreary trip in my subdued riverfront room, reading my fiction manuscript and looking out on the water that had once brought hundreds of slaves to this port. The next day I ventured out despite the foul weather, walking the city in a lightweight jacket and wishing that I had packed a real coat. I carried a paltry travel umbrella and flapped around a color-coded map, making my way to the city's most esteemed historic homes on squares graced by monuments and moss-draped oaks. I tramped at least 20 blocks, then toured 2 exquisite mansions along with their restored slave quarters. The Greek revival home of cotton merchant Andrew Lowe, the wealthiest businessman in Savannah in the antebellum period, whose daughter-in-law, Juliet Gordon Lowe, founded the Girl Scouts, and the Regency-style Owens Thomas House, now operated by the Telfair Museum of the Savannah School of Art and Design, or SCAD.